Hello, we will look through some basic object-oriented principles in PHP. A class is defined by its name, a list of properties, and a list of methods. In this example, we have a public property called var with a default value, and a public function display var that echoes that variable and a new line. An object is instantiated by using the keyword new and a class name. Object allows calling class methods. Another way to instantiate a class name is by using a variable with the class name. For example, the object instance will be created, and this object will be of type simple class. Furthermore, an instance of a class can be either assigned or referenced as an object. In this example, when changing the variable in the instance, the variable will also get changed in the assigned value. When changing the instance to null, the reference value will also get updated. So in this case, we will see displayed 2 times null and assign. Note that in assign, a copy has been made. So we have null, null, and the object of type simple class. Creating objects can also be created by a function method. For example, in the class test, we have a static public function called getNew. This will return a new object of the class test. Notice the keyword static here. That refers to the test class. When extending that class, the child method will copy, the child class will copy the getNew method. This will allow us to create objects from either calling the constructor of the class or calling the method, the static method getNew. Notice that these two objects are not identical, so this will result in a false state. Next, object 3 is creating by calling getNew method. Of course, the object 3 will be an instance of test. Object 4 is created by calling child getNew. So the object 4 will be an instance of the child class. Calling methods of a class when you don't want to store it in an object can be done by creating a new object, wrapping it into parentheses, and then calling the method. This example will print the current year in the console. Properties and methods can have the same name, but of course, the value will get extracted by the way you will reference that name. In this example, property will be displayed, then a new line, and then a method bar will be called. Properties can store anonymous functions. In this example, in the class anonymous, we have a property called bar. The constructor is assigning an anonymous function to the property bar. This means that the property bar is a callable element. When creating an object of the anonymous function type, we can call that anonymous function by wrapping the property bar in parentheses and then calling the method. This call should echo 42 in the console. The extends keyword allows creating child classes. A child class can override a specific method of the parent class. In this example, the extend class is the child class of simple class. The function display var extends the behavior from the simple class and then calls the parent method. When calling the display var on the extended method, we should see a chain call. First, the line 94 gets executed, and then the parent display var gets called. If we go to the definition of display var, we should see that a default value is being displayed. Let's also see this demonstration while attaching the debugger. So let's stop at line 94. Let's start the debugging by listening to Xdebug. And now we will run the method. We're creating an object, and then we will step into the display bar. Notice in the console that the extended class label is displayed. And now when we step into, we actually go at the definition of the simple class to echo a default value. When stepping out, we will return to our extended class, and stepping out again will continue the execution of the function. Continuing the execution will execute the rest of the instructions till the end of the script. Moving forward, let's look at some extension rule. Extension is allowed to override a method. Its signature must be compatible with the parent method. We also call, as a rule, the list of substitution principle. The rule says that objects of a superclass shall be replaceable with objects of its subclasses without breaking the application. For example, we have the base class with the method foo. Notice that the extend1 and extend2 change the definition of foo by only adding or making a parameter optional, or making a parameter that is or adding a parameter that is optional. So these two are both valid extensions that are allowed. Let's try to make this parameter mandatory. See that immediately we get an exception that this extension is not compatible with the base class foo. So when we want to run this script, we will also get that error. Making the property optional respects the same interface of the initial base class and doesn't return an error. This was the basic classes in PHP demonstration.